Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I am your lovely host, lovely Nihanda Hinyo Helmker, and tonight we're going to be talking about a very important topic of accountability. Why is this topic super important to me? I feel like it transcends and is something that is across the board important in whatever line of work you are doing, whether you are a mom or a boss or a boss mom. This is something that you definitely want to have under control and implemented in your everyday life. Now, you don't see it right now in my background, but usually I have a painting or a calendar that keeps me accountable of all the things that I have to manage, remember, and keep in my mind. So let's get into it, shall we? All right. So we're only going to touch on 4 different topics, and I really wanted to break them down into ways that are integral and very simple and easy to understand, that are as generic as possible. I find that when I do this, I stay out of trouble with some people because people tend to be very, very sensitive, especially when it comes to things like accountability in relationships, which we're not going to get into in this video, but it's going to come. All right, so brace yourself. Tonight's accountability video is just going to be broken into see it, own it, solve it, and do it. Now, just very quickly, when you see something that you know that you have to take responsibility for, you've got to make changes. You need to understand that this is something that needs to change, and I am the one who is able to change that thing. Not complain about this is the problem that you see in your life, or that person did X or Y or Z to me, or whatever the excuses or the temptation for excuses might lead you to lash back and defend yourself for, or just defend yourself with. The thing is to acknowledge that there is a problem and to know that there is a problem and that you are the one who can change it, which then leads me to the next point, which is own it. When you see that there's a problem, you accept and you acknowledge, take ownership of this issue, and that is also something that is very, very difficult to do. You don't it's very easy to say that, oh, it's because of my mom or because of my past or because of, something about me that is attracting this situation. I think when you say, actually from experience, and when you say, I think that this is something that I attracted into my life, and that is the best option, because then you can realize that you are the centerpiece of what is taking place. And that is the ultimate way of taking ownership. It is super important to be in a mindset of taking ownership and saying, okay, I'm responsible for this. That is the core of what responsibility and accountability is. And this is the best way to make sure that you can do something about it. It is also very liberating and freeing. It's necessary for that, because when you feel, or when you understand how much power you have in this aspect, you are able to progress and be successful quicker and faster, because you can then easily identify the things that are within your control and set aside the things that are out of your control. There is even a prayer like that, but we're not going to get all religious. Solve it is the third one, which is, how can we administer change, right? Now that we've seen what the issue is and we are knowing that it's an issue of our own doing and our own causing, then we have to figure out a way as to how to change that. And the implementation of change can be very difficult because it often requires levels and ways of being to change in an opposite direction, as it pertains to habits that we might have that are not necessarily serving us properly or at all. And so we need to then implement certain strategies in our lives to change the behaviors and to change the things that we no longer want in our lives. And that also is a key core component of accountability, is that it's not just enough to acknowledge that something is wrong and to own that something is wrong and just say, yeah, I did this. This is my fault. That would just be beating up on yourself. Now that you're able to acknowledge that there's something wrong and that it is of your own doing, then that is a liberating experience for you to understand and know that there's something that you can do about that. And what is that something going to look like? And I talked about it just now that it might also include or incorporate that you might have to implement new habits or put things in place or strategize to change things down the line. It is important for you to start to structure and strategize as immediately as possible so that you don't stay stuck in a place of just complaining and acknowledgement, because there's a very, very fine line between acknowledgement and complaining. You are allowed to have a moment of venting or releasing and acknowledging and unpacking a situation. That's what therapy is for. If you haven't seen my video on therapy, please go check it out. Um, and so once you have done that process, and if it's going to require therapy, then you don't know, already know that we can be looking at anything from a month to 2 years, depending on the depth of your issue. And so once you've done that unpacking, you can already in that process start to put small changes in place, which is the fourth step, which is to take action. Just do it. Do whatever it is it needs doing that's going to put you in a place of forward progression. I belong to the school of thought, and not all therapists and psychologists and psychiatrists belong to the school of thought, that the human brain and ability is very plastic, and we are not finite in the way that we are. A lot of people believe that it takes drastic, eye-waking, dramatic situations to shake a person out of their situation in order for them to realize, aha, this is my doing and I can change it. And I've got to do something about this. I have got to do something about this. There's just no longer good enough for me to wait for somebody to do something, or maybe no one has come to your aid and the situation has gotten drastically worse as a result. Now I have got to act, and I'm pushed into a situation of acting because something dramatic or emergency wise, something urgent has probably taken place. I don't believe that it takes that for all people. Unfortunately, and this is a big debate right now, it often takes that for people to start to think about acting. And the process of getting from see it, own it, and solve it to do it is very quick because it requires immediate action. It has gone dormant, maybe the person just did an ostrich and hit their head in the sand, and now they're forced to look at the situation in a way that is pushing them to immediate action. I don't believe it's always like that, but it's generally like that for most situations that are chronic. But if you're looking at this video right now and you want to know how to take more accountability or how to implement accountability situations with the people that you are around more, these simple steps can help you to see things differently. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Please like and subscribe, and if you can, stay safe and stay free.